Okay, we're live. So, we had a great session yesterday answering all kinds of questions from you guys on Roblox development, and today we're doing another one. This is bringing back a series that I used to do on this channel all the time way back in 2023 and 2024. It started before I even showed my face in my videos, and now it's back so you guys can ask your questions inside of chat, and I will do my best to answer as many of them as possible. If you were here last stream and you didn't have your question answered, you can send that question in. There's a good shot it'll get answered this time. Go ahead and like the stream and share it while we get prepared. I'm going to share this to everybody on X and quickly in the Discord server, and then we will get started. So go ahead and start sending your questions in. And yeah, I see you guys in the chat. How's it going? Josh, Co, you're definitely a regular around here. Matt World, Gaming Dinosaur. Welcome everyone to SmartyTalks. This is actually technically episode 20 of SmartyTalks. I haven't been numbering the episodes recently, but counted it up, and that's pretty wild. So let's keep on adding those numbers up because we're going to be doing more SmartyTalks than ever, more content than ever on the channel. So this is the new wave of Smarty RBX content. So I'm going to drop this link to everyone, and then we will go ahead and get started on whatever questions come in. Anything about Roblox development, anything that you need help with, any scripting question, any marketing question, any game launch question, anything you need, just go ahead and drop that in. Last stream we had to have gone over dozens of questions from you guys, and it was quite a value bomb, if you ask me. It was our best stream yet. I think they keep getting better each and every time. Let's see. At everyone. We're going to do an at everyone ping in Smarty Devs right there. And then we're going to do a tweet, and then we will get started. All right. We have announced it to everybody. So, all right. Without further ado, let's go. So, how much do you make a month? It really depends. Like, some months I'll make like, oh, why is this like this? Okay, there we go. Some months I'll make like $3K, but most months recently I've been making like $2K total. But I see that rising a lot more as I get new projects out and start posting more. In the last month, I haven't posted very much. Let's see. How hard was it to learn to make a Roblox game? It was definitely hard at first. I mean, to learn scripting, that was the hardest skill. So for a while, when I was like 12, 11 years old, I thought that I couldn't learn scripting. Like, I wasn't the type of guy to be a scripter. But that ended up being false. In 2021, I started to learn scripting, somewhere around there, or maybe it was the end of 2020. And I first learned from the Dev King's guides. Now, of course, whoever you learn scripting from or the videos you watch ends up influencing your beginner understanding of scripting. But from there, it's really all about solving problems. So most of the learning you're going to do is not going to come from one scripting guide that you watch from somebody. It's going to come from making projects and learning from each bug that you solve, each new system that you have to make. And most of that work is going to be things that aren't fully documented on YouTube. Like, if you're going into making unique projects, especially that haven't been done, there's going to be a lot of things that people haven't made tutorials on. So that's where Roblox development gets hard for a lot of people. And I get comments like, hey, Smarty, why? I got to plug my laptop in real quick here. But people will ask me, Smarty, why can I not put my scripts together into a full game? Why do I understand how to code, apparently, but I don't know how to turn that into a full game? So figuring that out tends to be one of the hardest parts of learning development for people. And it really only comes from practice and experience. Like, you can understand the basic syntax of scripting, but if you... Dude, where is my charger? I swear. But if you don't actually try to make a lot of different things, you don't actually understand how to put those skills together into full creations. So that's really the hardest part for people learning scripting. And I think nowadays you guys are lucky because you have AI. So back in 2020, when I was, or 2020, 2021, when I was learning scripting at first, I didn't have an AI that can just spit out instructions on how to make anything that I want, even game ideas that haven't been created before, not just basic things like simulators. I didn't have an AI that can just coach me on how to script. If I had that, say I had that back in 2017, I would have learned scripting right away, because it would have torn out the limiting belief of, oh, I can't learn scripting. Because a lot of devs have that when they start. Oh, I can't learn scripting. It's not for me. No, you can learn scripting, believe it or not. Even if you don't think you have like a brain that's like designed for scripting, you can figure that out. But I'm gonna answer more of your questions after I plug my laptop in, because if I don't, this entire stream will disappear. Just have to find that charger. Aha, there we go. All right, we got the charger. The infamous charger brick. You know, that's the one thing about MacBooks that I do like, is MacBooks last all day. So if anybody wants a laptop, I highly recommend... Oh, is it freezing up? Okay, I think it's good. I highly recommend that you get a MacBook because the battery lasts forever, and it also performs very well, performs better than any i7 Intel chip out there. And it's crazy that you have that and the battery at the same time. You'd think it'd be one or the other. So I recommend that as like the number one laptop if you're trying to do work. If you're trying to play games, it's a bit different. But I assume you guys are here to develop and do actual productive work. The MacBook is going to be the best bet for you. And yeah, I probably sound like a MacBook salesman. I think everybody who gets one becomes one because they're just that good. All right, I see questions popping in the chat. This is what I love to see. West, my good friend, has asked me, when will you play Splatoon? He's a Splatoon YouTuber. I don't know. You got to sell me on it, man. I don't see a reason to play Splatoon at the moment. But I know that you play it. You made a lot of videos on it, so clearly it's captivated you. So there's got to be something there to it. But do I really want to pay money for that? I don't know. I don't really want to pay, how much, $60 for Splatoon? You'd have to really sell me on why should I play Splatoon. I'm a Roblox dev. Like, it's a hard sell on a Roblox dev or player on any other type of game. When will you play Terraria? Oh, now we're asking when I'll play every single game. Actually, as a matter of fact, I have played Terraria. I played that when I was, 7 years old, 8 years old. It was always like the 2D Minecraft. It kind of has this weird kind of vibe to it. Like, I always found it unique, the whole Terraria thing, because, I don't know, you just get this weird feeling playing the game. You don't get it from Minecraft. Like, when you first play Minecraft, you have this super nostalgic feeling. I guess it's kind of similar, but it's more of a warm feeling. It's weird the different feelings different games give you, but like Terraria is more mystical. It's definitely a unique one. It hits you different. Does Smarty test games on stream? No, I don't at the moment, but that is something that I'll consider in the future because a lot of people are asking me that. And as we do more streams, we'll need to do different types, of course. We're going to have to mix it up. One thing we're doing, though, is soon we're going to be having guests on Smarty Talks. One of the first ones is going to be ROBUX. I was talking about him last stream. He's been actually joining in on the stream chats each time, talking with us. And I always bring him up, whether he's on or not, because he has a good business model in the Roblox space where he sells development templates to people. And he sells people Steal a Game, like entirely made, scripted games, Steal a Games, My Singing Games, all kinds of different projects. And he's been able to make tens of thousands of dollars a month doing that. So that's a way to earn money from development without making a full game. And I think it's been interesting to see. So whenever he can join us on a stream, we'll have him break that down and possibly break down how you guys can do it as well. So definitely, if you're not subscribed, subscribe and then have notifications on so you can see that Smarty Talks episode, because that'll be coming up soon. We're going to be doing quite a few Smarty Talks. This is going to be the most active, or one of the most active Roblox podcasts. I don't think there are that many Roblox podcasts out there. Like, there's a few other ones. Like, I know there's Beyond the Blocks and a couple other ones. I don't know if all of them post very often. There was one guy on X who was tweeting at David Baszucki, and he is going to get an interview with him. So that was interesting. David Baszucki, Smarty Talks when? Let's see. Okay. So we have a big super chat in here. Actually, I don't know how much money that is, but thank you, Nick Sahu. He said, share a roadmap, please, about scripting, GUI, animation, and 3D modeling. I want to do the scripting part, and I want to hire some team members that do the rest. Also, any course or playlist. So I think by a roadmap, you mean something that covers everything, right? I'm actually working on a very long guide right now that I think will satisfy that desire, and you will be able to learn quite a few skills and quite a lot of information in one guide. It'll be my most comprehensive one yet, and you should see that soon. But you also asked, I want to do the scripting part, I want to hire some people that do the rest. Yeah, that'll be covered as well. Do I have any course or playlists at the moment? Yes. So you can go to my channel. I have a playlist called Full Guides to Roblox Development, and that one has scripting guides in it. It has terrain guides, it has building, it has modeling. Basically, it has a guide on every single skill that you'd want to learn. So what is the average length for making a passion project? How long does it take? From Regay 79 78. Making a passion project, for most people, they have a really complex passion project. So that's why I recommend that people actually put that off and they make simple games first. Because usually passion projects, if we're talking about what most people are imagining, which is something that has a ton of mechanics, like the new Call of Duty on Roblox, or something like Jailbreak, where it has an open world map, that's going to take you years as a solo dev or a very small team. And simple games can take weeks, months, sometimes days if you actually have a simple idea and you know how to put that together very fast, or you have made systems in the past and you can kind of reconfigure that into a new project. Bamshiro said, do you think that developers have lost passion in the pursuit of money, in the sense that games aren't made for the purpose of having quality fun, more for the clicks and money? No, from my perspective, devs haven't lost passion, but they're directing it towards different things now. Like, the trends change, the times change. There's new types of games. There's brain rot games. We've been seeing that whole brain rot trend is what people are calling it. And at the end of the day, I don't think the passion of Roblox devs goes away. I don't think you can stomp that out. It's just people have to pay their bills, and they're going to make trendy games to be able to do that. And that's really strategy first thinking right there. And whether the passion has been lost is subjective to them. I mean, you could make a game, it could be very simple. You could make a Steal game, but then you could also make another game that's more unique on the side, and that could be your passion project. So I don't think devs really lose passion. I don't think that happens in this community as much as people would like to say that's a problem. But yeah, more people are making games for money now. But I don't think that that necessarily has to kill your passion. Like, you can have passion and you can try to make money at the same time. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions in the Roblox community, is that it's one or the other. It can definitely be both. Now, can games become low quality when they invest too hard in monetization and nothing else? Yes, but usually those games get penalized for that, and that isn't most games. Most games aren't doing that. They aren't pay to win. They aren't exploiting monetization. Most games are not doing that like most people, like many people would like to say. Would you help your subscriber out on fixing his dream game? Sorry for the spam. I didn't see you spamming. Well, it's a dream game, so I don't know. Do you think I'm going to be the one to help you? Out of anybody, I'm going to help you if it's on a simple game. I'll tell you how to make simple games first, make that minimum viable product, get it out to the market. Now, directly, am I going to join you on your project? Probably not. I'm tied up in my own projects, but I mean, if you join these streams and you join Smarty Devs below, join our community. It's a free Discord server. You can also join Scripting Secrets. You join those, you're going to have a community of people who think alike because they're all watching the same content. So that would be the closest thing to having me help you on your project, is find those friends in the Smarty RBX community who will do that. This is not really about Roblox game making, but how can I get more sales on my clothing? I'd say that's related because you're making ROBUX. And I'm really bad at making videos to promote it. Getting sales on clothing is more so about building a brand and considering your audience. It's more about that than the actual clothing itself. A lot of devs, and I'm assuming this is what you're doing too, a lot of people will put out clothing or UGC on the catalog and they expect that to be enough. But what they don't realize is we're now in the most competitive economy ever on Roblox. There are millions and millions of players and millions of people who are actually making clothing. So there's too much competition for you to expect the catalog to give you sales on its own. It's just not enough. So the people who are really winning at UGC, and we'll just lump clothing into UGC as we're talking about this, those people have a brand. They have a Roblox group that they built up over years. They have a name in the community. They have a TikTok where they promote their stuff. And I know you said, oh, I'm not as good at making videos. It doesn't have to be videos. It could be other things. I mean, you could even promote it on X. I think you wouldn't get the highest ROI there. But I mean, even a Roblox group, if you're doing something to build a brand and build awareness of what you're doing and make it so that people are actually invested in what you're doing, like people here on this stream, everybody here is like invested in this channel. They're interested enough to watch a live stream and join us here. So we got 29 people watching right now, and I'm sure that rises, falls as the stream goes on. But those are all people who are here. Why? Not because I just suddenly made a live stream on a new channel. It's because I've made hundreds of videos in the past and I've built up that reputation and that brand. And now people come to this, right? It's not just like these people are just coming out of nowhere. You guys found this channel through something else. I did something that got you here. So it's the same thing with clothing, is you have to make a brand and you have to give people a reason to buy it. And that's really the biggest problem with people selling accessories on the platform, is they're trying to do it. They're expecting the Roblox algorithm to pick them up, but you need a brand to do that. And videos can help, but that's just one promotion method. There's other ones. You can also do sponsors. Like I know you can sponsor UGC nowadays. That's worth a try as well if you have something really good. How much would you say an average brain rot game with 1000 CCU makes? It depends on how well monetized it is. So if you're making a game and it gets 1000 CCU, but the monetization's trash, you only have a few game passes, no developer products, you're not going to make that much money. But with 1K CCU, you have the potential to make $10,000 a month. There's a lot of people who are able to pull that off. Now, of course, it also depends on the audience. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. I don't have a game that has 1000 CCU right now, to be totally upfront, but we have made millions of Robux a month from meme games back in 2021 when the games were really taking off, and also 2022. Millions of Robux a month, hundreds of thousands to millions for a few months, and that was only on a few hundred players. So if the game is well monetized, it can make a good amount of money, and it doesn't require you to have a million players online. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions about Roblox development. Oh, I got to have all the players. I got to be on the top of the front page. I got to be Steal a Brain Rot or else I'll make nothing. I got to have 24 million active users or I'll make no money. That just isn't true. And it's proven by very small, relatively, devs making good amounts of money, even a living from small games. How do you link your VFX effect to your animation? So really, linking your VFX effect to your animation is about scripting, and it's also about your welds. So welding and scripting are going to be the key words here. So if you're just a VFX artist or you're just an animator, you're probably not experienced with scripting. You might have to learn some basics, or you could even try using AI for it or looking at some basic tutorials. But to make that VFX connect to your animation, you need to code it where it happens at the right time in your game. Like say you press E to do an attack. That will play the VFX. So you would clone it from say server storage into workspace. You would position it at the player's hand. Like say you're doing a punch, you want kind of like some dust to fly off of your hand. You do that, you position it, and also if you want it to kind of follow the hand, you weld it. So a weld is a constraint in Roblox that attaches one part or object to another part. So that would be one thing that you do. You would do that in the script, and you'd have to time it properly and use user input service to have that happen on an attack or whatever you're having happen in your game. Do you think that making a trend game is worth it? Yes. In fact, I think it's more worth it to make a trend game as one of your first games than it is to make almost any other project. That's why I say make simple games first, because those games are going to be 20 times easier to make, especially as a new dev, than your dream game, than making the next Call of Duty on Roblox or the next Jailbreak. Making a trend game has the benefit of everything inside the game is already planned out for you. Like you can play a Steal a game right now and you can list out all the systems you need. You need a conveyor belt, you need a stealing mechanic, you could purchase objects, whatever that is, brain rots, cars, buses, like my game. You need rebirth system, you need a coin system, you need a base system. You have all that stuff figured out for you already. So you just have to figure out how to implement that yourself. Now, if you're making something totally from scratch that isn't a trend game, yeah, people will praise you because they're going to be like, oh, you're this original dev, you're so wonderful, you're making a passion project. But on your side of things, the dev actually making the project, it's 10 times more work because all of that stuff that would be figured out for you otherwise, all the systems you'd have to make, you don't get a list thrown at you. The more unique your game is, the harder it's going to be to make. So that is why I tell devs, you don't have to make the most unique game. You don't have to make the most complex game as your first game. In fact, you shouldn't. You should copy stuff, literally. Find success, duplicate, and innovate. Innovation comes after duplicating things. After you inspire from what works, and that doesn't mean that you make a 100% copycat, but you go and you look at the trends and then you add your own spin to it. Like I took the steal a brain rot trend, I made steal a bus, a new game recently. That is taking the trend and then it's adding in your own unique idea to it. Now, after you make several of those games, then you can graduate to making better games after you've built up skill, and then after you have funding that allows you to pay other devs to help you to make those complex or more unique games that'll take more work. Now, I will say AI helps a lot in making those unique projects. AI, I think its best use is in making frameworks and making plans for things. So back 5 years ago, what most people don't realize is we did not have a chatbot that could just explain to us all the components of a project and what we need and all the scripts that will go into it. We didn't have that. We had to figure that out on our own, or we had to ask somebody who had done it before, which made it a lot harder to figure things out. It's kind of like the difference between your parents' generation or my parents' generation having to go read books at a library rather than going to the internet and just searching something up on Google. Right? Now, we've taken things a step further from Google, which takes effort still to find information, to AI. We have ChatGPT. And what people don't realize is AI doesn't have to manipulate your brain. It doesn't have to give you AI psychosis. It doesn't have to mess with your head if you're in control of it. And really what AI, using it right, is all about, using it in a way where you're not just making slop, as most people would put it, right? There's a lot of hate towards AI. The best way to use it is to get a framework for something you're going to do. Like say you're going to make a steal a game. You ask it, hey, what are all the scripts that go into making a steal game? It'll break all that down for you. It'll list it out. And that doesn't mean you have to make every script with AI, but you get the framework. You get the overarching plan from AI, and you're able to figure out how to make that project a lot faster. Now, where this really comes in handy, and this is what I'm getting at, is when you're trying to make a more unique project. You can have AI help you plan that out, and it can kind of give you a grasp on all the systems you're going to need, all of the items you're going to need, all the game passes you're going to need, all the assets you're going to need, even if that project has never been made before. So you can get a lot of guidance that you couldn't get years ago. And that is something that you should use to the fullest. And you should really think about the fact that I didn't have this 5 years ago. Nobody had this 5 years ago, but now we take it for granted. We take AI for granted. We just treat it like Google 2.0. We ask it, how do I make a lasagna without burning it in the oven? And then how to plagiarize a homework assignment. And then we act like that's all it can do. Like, no, AI can be used for much better things than that. And that's really what it's for. It's for making frameworks. It's for helping you plan things. It's for helping you build things. Smarty, you should have Fudge King on one of your podcasts. I don't know who that is, but maybe if they're a Roblox developer. This is Throwaway Isaac said, I learnt my coding basics from GPT. That all right? Well, of course it's all right. In fact, that's smart of you because learning from ChatGPT means you're learning faster than somebody who doesn't use it. Like, as long as you remember the information, you don't have to ask it for something every 5 seconds. Well, I mean, to be fair, you're going to be looking up a lot of things as a scripter no matter what. But as long as you aren't having to remind yourself of the basic concepts using AI every 5 minutes, you remember the syntax, you remember how to write a function, how to do variables, how to put together a script, that's fine. You use whatever method works for you. Like a lot of people think there's one right way to learn scripting. There's not. You learn the way that works for you. If that's learning from my guide, great. If that's learning from my course, great. If that's learning from somebody else, great. Whatever works. If that's learning from free models, that works as well. So if AI worked for you, all the power to you. Smarty, okay. Do you recommend making a trend game that you're passionate about? Sure. Yeah, passion can help, right? Focus on market demand first, but then if there's a certain trend game out of all the trend games out there that you're more passionate about, you can choose that one by all means. It might make it easier to make. So, yeah. How can I create an original hide and seek game that isn't just a run of the mill game? Add a unique spin. So I want you to think about all of the unique obby games, like obby but you're a cube, obby but you have a long arm. Do you remember that whole trend where everybody would add a unique spin to obbies? You can do the exact same thing, except with hide and seek. Hide and seek, but the tagger is a dog. I brought that up last stream as a random idea. Hide and seek, but the tagger runs 500 miles per hour. That actually might be a successful idea right there. Add a spin, add something unique, and that will help that game to stand out in that niche. And hide and seek is something that's very general. It's very popular. I mean, everybody's played hide and seek when they were a kid. So it's something that's universal. Like everybody's going to have an interest in that, but then add in something more unique and you're going to have more of a shot that that game can stand out. Now, I would like to see what you make, so let us know, like what twist do you end up doing? Are you actually going to do the Seeker runs 500 miles per hour? I don't know. We'll see what you do. Better be good. Are you able to check out my game? I've followed your advice and I've tried my best. It's a simple game, gameplay loop with monetization in mind, purely strategy first. Good to hear. The game is basically done. Well, just let me know the link. You can DM that to me. I might be able to get around to playing it, especially if we do a stream where I review your games. That's something I'd like to do at some point. I haven't done that yet. I have done some videos where I review games and people have always liked those. But definitely I'll consider doing a stream like that because a lot of people are asking. And as we do more Smarty Talks, I'm going to try more ideas. I'm going to experiment more. Like I said, I'm going to have guests on the show. We're going to be doing more content than ever, but including live streams. I really like live streams. I think live streams are just one of the best types of content for people to watch, but also for content creators to make. It's easier, but also you have the chat, right? And you guys ask questions and you like it even more when everything that I'm saying is kind of based on that conversation you're having in the chat. You get a Q&A from me. That seems to be what people like the most. So we're going to try different content styles going forward. Lemonade is a pretty good AI assistant for Roblox. In fact, its main purpose is Roblox. I'd have to look into that. I haven't heard of that one. But it sounds like you like it a lot. How does one lose interest from development when you buy fancy cars and skyrise apartments? I don't know. I mean, it depends on the person. If you're somebody who never was passionate about development in the first place, maybe you would. Maybe you'd make a bunch of money and you'd be like, screw this. I just want to party in the city and live my life and never touch Roblox again, never work again. But frankly, I don't think that's most Roblox devs. I think people make a caricature about Roblox devs. They act like Roblox devs are just these money-hungry people who just want to earn their bag from Roblox and then run off into the sunset with it. But frankly, most devs are very passionate. And for all the criticism I get about saying strategy first is the way for Roblox developers in this new economy, I am the most passionate dev I've met. Like, I have made 400 videos on this field. I'm a very passionate dev. So I think that from my perspective, there's very few devs who actually aren't passionate and would lose that to their money. I think that they're just going to keep doing it. And yeah, the lifestyle you get from having successful games, that is a goal that we all have, but I don't think that has to kill your passion. In fact, I think it would amplify it. I think it would make it stronger. Yeah, why are you not Jimmy Games lead developer anymore, even though it's on your profile? Yeah, we had a dispute, so I'm currently not in that role at the moment. We just had a dispute in the group amongst ourselves, but that should be fixed soon. But yeah, either way, it's just something that happens sometimes. But hey, bro, is I'm learning Lua script, and when I made my first Roblox small parkour game, nothing is working, not even showing error. I marked that game from video step by step and use AI for helps. So there's going to be bugs. I experience bugs all the time. I think every dev does. It's not really something you're going to permanently escape. But if everything is bugging out, you might want to try making a game that's even more simple. And I know parkour, sounds like the simplest project you could make, but at your level, it might be too complex. Make an even simpler obby game. Really try to understand the basics of scripting step by step. Iron out the bugs in that, and on that super simple project, like an obby is one of the most simple ones you can make. You can refine your scripting skills, then you can go back to making your parkour game, which is a tad more complex than an obby. But if you're trying to skip all that, if you're trying to fix it right now, what I would do is look through your scripts for little mistakes. So if you think everything's right, look through your script for spelling mistakes, little punctuation errors. That's the first thing that can really throw off your script, especially if you're new. But also logic errors, of course. It's not just syntax. It's not just spelling. If you paste your scripts into AI, it can help you to find bugs. It won't be bulletproof in finding every bug. And in fact, sometimes it will make things up. It will say, oh, here's the bug, when the code was working just fine and it can't actually find the real bug. Because AI hallucinates. That's what it's called. It will make things up. It will act like it found the bug when it didn't. So that's the biggest problem. And that's also why I think that most people can't script a full game with AI. You cannot script a game with AI unless you have some degree of coding knowledge already or a hell of a lot of patience. If you're very patient, you can push through all the bugs, because there will be bugs even if you're using AI. It's not perfect. If you can do that, you can push a game out there partially vibe coded, but it's really hard to actually 100% vibe code something. In my experience, it's very hard because AI messes up, it hallucinates. AI also doesn't know how to fix your bugs, so you have to do a lot of that. And frankly, after all of that work, you end up realizing, I should just do this myself. Like, half the stuff in here, it would be faster if I did it, because yeah, AI spits out the code instantly, but then I just have to rewrite it right afterward or fix 15 bugs. So what was the time saved? It didn't even help. So I think that most people, they aren't going to be able to make a full game with AI. The idea that AI has fully replaced scripters is nonsense. It has not happened yet. It's going to take a bit, because AI, it just fails. And I haven't paid for ChatGPT Pro. Like, I have ChatGPT Plus. I don't know how good ChatGPT Pro is. I know that you get access to their GPT-5 Pro or O3 model or whatever. Maybe it's better, but $200 a month is something that you're probably only going to be able to afford if you're already somebody who's making 10K a month or 20K a month from a Roblox game. It's not much better. Do you have ChatGPT Pro? Ruser? Does anybody in this chat have it? Because it is pretty pricey. Just to review games better than this. Well, we're going to keep doing this, but I'll add in reviewing games, but this is the main thing that we're going to be doing in SmartyTalks. Also having guests on, that's something that I want to do. So again, next episode or in a few episodes, we're going to have ROBUX on. He's going to explain making game templates, his company, where he sells Steal games, etc. Packages that people use to build out full games that have gotten thousands of CCU. and made those people a lot of money, but also made ROBUX a lot of money just selling those templates, tens of thousands of dollars. So we're going to have him on soon. Smarty, if you had to make a game right now in this game, a simulator, what would you do to ensure it launches to get the most players and retains them well? I would test the game out with a group of people before I launch it. I think that's really important, doing testing sessions, making sure that it's engaging. But really, there's a lot that goes into that. And I think that I would very heavily focus on the stats right after launch. That's what I've done with Steal a Bus, is focus on improving the analytics up to the benchmarks. And that can take work if your game launches and it isn't anywhere near that. Like, that's what I had happen recently. So you may have to make a lot of improvements in your game or completely rework it to reach those benchmarks sometimes. And if you don't know what the benchmarks are, it's basically where you go to your analytics. It says, hey, this is the play time to shoot for, 10 minutes. You get 10 minutes on your game. You get people staying in for that long. We're going to push your game in the algorithm. So those benchmarks are really the goal. And when you see people on Twitter who are going, hey, I just had 10,000 people in my game for the first time. I just reached 20,000 CCU. I just reached 50,000 CCU. What they're doing is they're reaching those benchmarks. They're improving their game. They're iterating with each update. They're making it more engaging. And that's why they're able to do that. And oftentimes you'll look at these tweets, like I saw one today, and all their stats are in the green and they're above the benchmark. So the benchmark kind of measures like how your game stands against other games. So the 50th percentile game was able to get 10 minutes playtime. That would be an example of a benchmark. And really what it is it's competition. You see it in your stats, you're like, oh, it's just a number. No, that's competition against other devs being demonstrated to you right there. And that's what people don't realize, is that's just one element of how Roblox development is a more competitive field than ever. And it's only getting more competitive by the day, which is why you have to be strategy first. And strategy first doesn't guarantee results, doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees you understand what's going on. And it guarantees that you can see what moves you need to make going forward to advance your career. And strategy first is really all about thinking ahead, and it's also all about empathy for players, like strategic empathy, understanding what they want, catering to that rather than just making what you feel like. And you're not going to be able to compete in this new Roblox economy if you're just making passion projects. That isn't to say, oh, cut out passion. It's to say, consider strategy first. Consider your plan, consider how you can maneuver and outcompete other devs and beat them in this game of development, rather than just focusing on what you want to make. Now, the reason for that is you see Roblox, you see the create page, it's all marketed on, oh, create anything you can imagine. That worked back in 2012 as a strategy, but now, as Roblox gets more and more competitive, as there's more people, things start to level out to the point where player psychology determines game success, how aligned you are with people's dopamine. Because the reason for that is as you have more options available to you, as you have more TikToks to scroll, as you have more Roblox games to play, on any platform, everybody tries to grab people's attention better and hold it better. And that comes from tapping into people's dopamine better. So these games are getting highly advanced at tapping into people's dopamine, at getting them basically addicted to it. And to be able to compete, it can't just be vibing. Like, you can't just be sitting there vibing in studio, enjoying your lo-fi music and your coffee and just hoping that that's enough, modeling pets in Blender. That isn't it. You have to be able to understand the player's mind, understand business, and strategy first thinking. And we talk about that in all the channel's videos lately because this is the most important thing. Or else you're simply not going to be able to compete. The strategy is the road, passion is the fuel. Exactly, DevLab Games. 100% right. By the way, I've been interested with strategy first. Do you have any videos or tips on going into this niche, like possibly a good loop to follow, or good rules. So I have videos talking about core loops. I have a video on that, but I also have, or if you're talking about like a process for development, that's different. But I talked about core loops in the video, how to make your first simple games on Roblox. So I'd recommend you check that out. That has a process for how to make your first simple games, like step by step how to do it. A good rule to follow, I would say the number one video to watch is definitely this one. I'm actually going to pull it up to show you. This is the most important video I've ever released on this channel, period, if you ask me. It's called Why Your Roblox Game Takes Forever to Finish. Let's see. So this game right here, this video right here,
how to finish your Roblox games faster. So years ago, I used to spend way too long making
this
my
video right
projects.
here. As you can see, Professor Smarty here with the whiteboard. I'm going to do more whiteboard videos like that. I like it. Very good style.
And the reason for this is I made
This video isn't just saying mistakes people make. This video isn't just saying, oh, why your game is taking forever to finish. It's not just about time. This video is about a full process to strategy first Roblox game development. And I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to the point where you can see what is right here. Zoom in on this. So on this whiteboard, what I wrote, and you can watch this video in full, but let's see if I can step to the side here. Good enough. The biggest problem that people make in their game development is focusing on building first, because building is very time consuming. You want to focus on scripting first because that's what leads to gameplay. You want to focus on scripting that core loop rather than scripting random nonsense that you don't need, like scripting bushes that shake. These are hobbyist mistakes we've all made. I remember spending days trying to figure out how to make bushes shake rather than scripting my main systems in my roleplay game back in the day. I did that twice in my hobbyist days because I was trying to make 2 different roleplay games. And guess what? Those games never dropped because I was focusing on polish before making a finalized MVP, making something that ships, even if it's not perfect. Like Steal a Bus, my recent game, it was not perfect, but it shipped. And that strategy first Roblox game development is in a nutshell, is it's really about shipping games. It's not about making the perfect game. The hobbyist hive mind, the hobbyist mindset is really about making the perfect game and worshiping that as the ideal. A strategy first dev who's truly on it, who's actually on their game, on business, that dev is going to be launching a lot of projects. To hobbyists and to most people, it's going to look like they're just launching out a bunch of quote unquote slop. But really what it is they're launching a large volume of projects. They have a high production velocity. They're launching a lot of things into the market. Why? So they can test those ideas, so they can see what sticks. You're throwing a lot of darts at the board. You're seeing which ones stick, which ones are going to be a bullseye. And that's going to be better to throw out a lot of quantity rather than just hoping one 3-point shot makes it into the basket, right? You're going to have a lot more odds to make a shot if you're taking a lot of different shots on the court in basketball. And just the same in Roblox development, the more shots, the better. And yeah, you can improve the accuracy of each shot with time, but that only comes from quantity. Quantity leads to quality. So ignore when people say, oh, making simple games is slop, it's cash grabbing. No, what it is you're volume maxing. You're maxing out the amount of games you drop so you can max out your skills, so you can max out your funds, and so you can max out the exposure you have to players so you can data max. You can max out the stats and the information you get on whether people like your core loop. You get data on how long people stay in game. You get data on whether or not people come back. You get day 1 retention. You get day 7, day 30. Are people coming back after a month? You get information on how much money you make per paying user, 1 Robux per paying user. And when you have stats, you have something to improve upon. When you don't have stats, you don't even have a scoreboard. You don't even know if you're winning or losing or not. So that's why you got to look at your stats. And that's one of the main things that separates a strategy first dev from a non-strategy first dev from a hobbyist. Hobbyists rely mainly on vibes. Strategy first devs rely on empiricism, which basically that just means they rely on facts over feelings. And really the facts are, what do the stats say? What is the player feedback? And the main player feedback you're going to get is not what they say, but rather what the data is telling you. Because it tells you when they're dropping off, when they aren't getting enough dopamine from your game, when they're getting bored. And especially if you use the new analytics service, it tells you that. So right here, the next thing we have is perfectionism. So that's really what we're talking about. Like all these things connect, but this is the 5-step plan to release a game faster than everybody else releases games, period. There's no other framework. You're not going to read some tweet on X from some front page dev. Nobody's going to say something that's going to help you to release a game faster than this. This is the fastest way, but it's also simple. And that's the whole point of this framework. This video is designed to distill years of mistakes I made that made me slow in many projects, and also what separates the devs who actually get things done fast. And I figured that out over years, and not from being the perfect dev from the start, but rather from being the guy who was slower than everyone, taking forever, taking years to release games that should have released in months, taking years and never releasing games in the first place. This cuts away all of the mistake, because one thing, I remember spending a long time trying to polish terrain. I had this roleplay game. I talk about my roleplay game all the time. I made this with my dad years ago. It was our passion project. But I would spend days and days and days editing terrain. Terrain, of all things. I would change the terrain. I would mold it. And what I didn't realize at the time was I was procrastinating. I was using this stupid, simple task. Oh, I'm painting the terrain. I feel productive. Oh, I'm drawing grass. I'm drawing rocks. I'm drawing trails. This is all productive stuff, right? No. Not productive at all, because it doesn't improve the gameplay. It does not help the game be more fun. It's just running around in circles. You never release your game if you're stuck in perfectionism. That's really what it is. Thinking everything needs to be perfect. My perfectionism, it's always been in building. And in that case, it was on the terrain. It was on Terrain Editor. But Terrain Editor, I swear, it's a scam. It's one of the most time-consuming tools in Studio because it's so fun. It's fun. That's really the problem with building, and that's really the problem with terrain editing. That's the problem with the art side of development is, yeah, it's something we're passionate about, but it takes forever if you are polishing. So forget that. Focus on scripting first. Focus on the gameplay. And focus on the core loop. Cut perfectionism relentlessly. You use the 80-20 rule. Focus on the 20% of development that leads to 80% of your results. That makes up your MVP, your minimum viable product, the minimum bare bones version of your game that you need to release it to the market. Another thing, not having a deadline and not marketing. You can learn about those two inside that video. I'm not going to go over those here. But that's the most important video you can watch from me on my channel. And to that guy's question, to circle back to that, that's the full process in that video. The loop per se of strategy first, Roblox game development. It's really that, but just add in data collection and iteration at the end of that, and you have something you can repeat over and over. Do what I said in that video, release a lot of games, and then use the data to just improve. Update games, cut your ties when a game just isn't salvageable, can't be pushed into the algorithm, can't get a lot of players on it. Cut your ties, start something new with the process all over again, repeat. So next question, let's grab that. We got, oh nice, we have the chat in the corner down here, right here. We didn't have that last stream. I've sent you the game. on Discord. I'm planning on releasing tomorrow. All right, I'll make sure to take a look. Burnout conversation. I'm begging for advice. You got to expand on what you mean. What are you burnt out with? Because burnout can come from a lot of things. I appreciate Josh being in here to ban or delete all the spammers messages, not scammers. Spammers in the chat. No spamming your question. It's less likely I'll answer it if you do that. Smarty, tell people to make UGC so they can auto-finance their games. It's a cheat code, literally. Depends, right? You have to have a UGC that takes off, and as I said, you need a brand or you need something that blows up in the algorithm. And it's something that you can look at, but I think that it's higher leverage to focus on games. So, no, I'm not going to recommend that to everybody, but if you're a modeler, go ahead. Highlander 2 said, good advice. Didn't Jandel and Sammy do this? They made a lot of games beforehand. Yeah, exactly. They did. So Jandel, Sammy, pretty much every big dev, they made a lot of games before they made their big successful project. Listening to this video in the background while I develop my game, and I just realized I was polishing something that wasn't even needed from famous media clips. What did I tell you, man? These are the exact mistakes everybody experiences, to the point that somebody listening to this stream found themselves engaged in perfectionism and polish before finishing their game, polishing before shipping, before having an MVP. It happens to everyone, and there's a lot of people who want to say, oh, bro, that doesn't happen to me. Oh, I never polish. No, it happens to you. You have to continually catch yourself. If you think it doesn't happen to you, you aren't holding yourself accountable and tracking that. Like, I have to catch myself doing it still. It doesn't go away. You have to be constantly thinking, am I doing perfectionism right now, or is this a legitimate change? Is this scope creep, or is this something we actually need to add to the game? Like recently, I found myself adding, I'm going to plan out the lore to the game. Yeah, the lore is cool. We can add that, but it doesn't help us launch. We need to focus on getting our UI done, right? We're having a UI designer make UI for our shooter. We're in the final stages of finishing up this project. Our meme shooter I talked about last stream, and I've talked about in recent videos. I was focusing on extra things, adding in things that we didn't need. And I have been doing this for years, and I've known about the perfectionist thing for at least a year or two, that being one of the biggest problems devs have. So it still happens to me. So it can definitely happen to you. So always be aware of that creeping in. And again, watch that video. It will help you. That's a process you can follow over and over to make games. Make games faster than everybody else if you actually follow that. So Smarty, when you see a game's analytics not reaching benchmarks, how would you take that information and change the game to improve the benchmarks? So the first thing is engagement. So most of the analytics in there are there to focus on engagement. It's not there to focus on money. It's not there to focus on monetization. Most of them are there to focus on how long people are staying and whether they come back both days from now, weeks from now, and months from now. So the first thing to focus on is, are we engaging our players in our core loop? If so, good. But the next question is, are we keeping players coming back? Are they coming back to get rebirths, to continue progressing? And that's really the simple side of things. It depends on the game. But each stage of that process in your core loop, and also in onboarding and in the rest of the progression of the game, you have to improve that depending on what stage is impacting the analytics negatively. And I think the best way to pinpoint that is the new analytics service by Roblox. So if you go to your analytics, they have this tab called funnels. And what this is it's like a sales funnel. There's a concept in marketing called the sales funnel where, like, for example, you'd be at the top of my funnel right now. You're like watching content by me, and then I can promote other resources to you, and I can promote products, courses, etc. down the road. So Roblox took that concept and they applied it to games, and they have a funnel of gameplay. So a player joins the game, they take this action, they do this, they do this, they do this, they do this, they do that. You're able to track that. You're able to send that information into Roblox, and then you can see the specific points in gameplay where people drop off. So say part of the game is too hard. They reach stage 72 in Mega Fun Obby 3000 stages, your new game. What do? Right. Well, because you have analytics service, because you're using funnels, you're able to see that exact point. Now, this is something I have yet to implement. I have not used this feature yet, but seeing this is the most important thing that we can use as devs to improve our analytics. So I'm going to be adding that into my new game, Steal a Bus, and my next projects, including my shooter, to really track where things are happening and then where players are dropping off. So it's hard for me to give you a specific thing to focus on because it depends on the game, right? And if you use analytics service, like, it's going to allow you to see and pinpoint where you're going wrong, where people are dropping off, and then you can raise the session time. You can raise how long people stay in game based on that. But I think the analytics service is nice, but it also takes work, right? It takes some work. Like, you have to put in the service to your scripts. You have to add analytics service at the top. You have to code all of the events in. Oh, player picked up 3,000 coins, track that. Player gained a base, player bought their first bus and Steal a Bus. You need to be able to track all those events. You have to do a little bit of work to add that. But hey, the more for us devs who are actually willing to try, right? Because most devs won't actually put the work in to implement that. You have an advantage if you do. How can I find players to develop games with? Go to Smarty Devs below. You can join us. It's our Discord server with over 20,000 devs, and you can start networking. People with this in this live chat right now are in there and will be joining you in there. So we like to have that be a lively place for devs to connect and to find jobs and to discuss development topics, discuss strategy first thinking, whatever it is you want to talk about. And you can join us in there. But of course, that's not the only place. You can also find devs on X, but Smarty Devs is going to be a good one. Now, another thing is a lot of people are always searching for a space, right? We're all thinking, oh, where do I go to make friends? Where do I go in real life too, right? People are thinking, oh, how do I make friends? Where do I go? But where people rarely think about is, how about you start the event? How about you start the group chat? How about you start the Discord server? How about you start the thing? Have you ever thought about that? Be proactive and start something. So you could start your own server, invite people. I don't care if it's from Smarty Devs or wherever. Invite people and build your own server. And then now you're the leader. You're at the top of the pack. You're at the heap of the pile there. And now you're in charge of that server. And that's going to give you social capital right there. And you can make a lot of connections. Even better, because it's your domain. You own the server. You can run whatever events you want. You can run game jams. So a lot of you haven't thought about that. What if you started your own Discord server? And a lot of people gatekeep their server. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but they gatekeep it based on certain requirements. If you do that, now it becomes this kind of elite club that only certain people get into. And right now I'll plug my elite club. I have an elite club. Only certain people can get in. It's the Illuminati of Roblox. We have Dev Create. It is Discord for people who are dev content creators. So people who make videos like I do about Roblox game development, they can join that server if they have at least 500 subs and 2 high quality videos. Those will be raising eventually, but it should be in the description. You can try and join that. Send in your dev content channel. We have a lot of the top dev content creators, ones you watch, like RoDev, BubbleX, other people. RoBuilder used to be in there. He's not in there now. But yeah, all kinds of people are in there, and you can network with them if you're into dev content, if that's something you do. But that's one example, right? I started that, and I made that space for people rather than waiting around, because nobody else had made a chat, believe it or not, up until that point for dev content creators specifically. People had made chats for Roblox developers. They'd made developer chats and elite developer chats for top devs who have like 1,000 CCU or something. They'll gatekeep it behind certain requirements, which can be a good method. Or it could be smaller than that. It could be something else altogether, like builders only server. You could make that. But all in all, that was a way to build up that network. And if you're proactive about it, it's going to be better than just waiting around. Because I waited around so long for somebody to start a server like that. But then I just realized one day, or I was looking around for it. I don't think it was actually that long, but I wanted somebody to make a server for dev content creators. But eventually I just thought, why not me? Why don't I do it? So I did it, and it ended up being one of the best decisions I've made in my Roblox development career, because I have a very good circle in there, and actually people in there who I'll be doing this podcast with, and I have done it in the past with them. You can actually see those episodes. I've collabed with a lot of dev content creators from Dev Create, and it's really been a very good piece of leverage for me. It's been a useful resource for me and then everybody else in there. And a lot of people are looking for that dev server, as I said, but why not start your own? Why not be a leader and make that for other people? So yeah, you're welcome, Turtle, for telling you. And you can find the first people inside of Smarty Devs or X or wherever. Any good tutoring websites? There are tutoring websites out there. I don't know any specific ones, but that's something, hey, a lot of people here, if you guys want a business model in Roblox development, that's one thing. You can tutor other devs like this guy. If you know scripting, you could even teach him. I mean, you could even throw your Discord in chat. I'd be fine with that if you want to teach him and get paid. Because people need tutors, but nobody does it. It's kind of wild to me. A lot of people need to know how to learn scripting. They can't learn it on their own with videos. They can't learn it with ChatGPT. They need direct help from a human. So there's a business opportunity there. There's a void that I see, that I've seen for a long time. And you could do that. You could do it through dev content. That could be your outreach method. You could make videos like these. You could make live streams answering people's developer questions. And then, you could post those videos, and then you could find people who need a tutor through that, promote a link in the description. You can use a site like Calendly, which lets you set up appointments with people, and they can come to you. They can pay to get a coaching or tutoring session about whatever skill, scripting, building, modeling, UI design, animation, VFX, GFX, whatever it is. And that can be a good business model. And then, like our friend in chat here, you can help them out with that skill. The best modelers, where I find them post their portfolio. So honestly, and I was talking about this last stream, and I think you were here, Tifonk. Don't look in the Roblox community. Ideally, for Roblox developers, they're just unreliable, most of them. And I think you're going to find better modelers outside of it. So the good thing about modeling is you can get people who are skilled in that, who have never touched Roblox before. You can find somebody who knows Blender and Maya. And those platforms, those softwares don't require Roblox knowledge. So you can go find people on job hiring sites. You can find people on Discord servers. There's a lot of different ways. But if you find somebody outside of the community, and this is for every skill, not just modeling, you're going to generally find more reliable people. And that's been my experience. I've had countless people in the Roblox community who are very flaky. They'll say 5 days into your taking your commission, hey, my computer broke. I have to stop. I can't finish it. This happens most of the time when you hire people. They have some excuse, or they just delay and take forever, and they don't hit the deadline. And enough is enough if you're experiencing this. So try other methods to find devs. But if you do want to take the gamble and find somebody inside the Roblox community, X generally has the most professional devs. Like That's where people tend to be. I would look on X, and if you want to find people who are in the Roblox community, you can use the hashtag RobloxDev feature, or you can just type in Roblox modeler to search. If you're searching for people, especially in the Roblox community, you want to hire multiple people at the same time, or rather reach out to multiple people at the same time at minimum, because that reduces the chances that any one of those people just disappears on you or ends up being unreliable. Now you have a higher chance that one of those people ends up being a productive person to work with because you have more options. So reach out to multiple people, have multiple irons in the fire at all times. I would always do that with anybody from UI designers to modelers. I recently had a VFX artist who I was trying to hire, and the guy said, "Oh yeah, I'll be able to start." And then he delayed. He had some personal problems come up, like Roblox devs usually do. Delayed, and I made the dumb mistake of not having multiple people on the line. I mean, I had a few people I'd reached out to, but I didn't have anybody else starting the commission. You can also have them do that. Have multiple people take on different parts of the commission you need. Like have somebody make 5 of the VFX, have somebody make the weapon VFX, somebody else make the environmental VFX, somebody else make the dust VFX or player character VFX. Split it up among multiple people. Then if one of those people disappears, or if one ends up being really good, right, you can lean towards them. You can cut the people who are inefficient and who aren't getting anything done. But I made that mistake recently with this guy, and I let that delay my VFX for my project. But now today I reached out to 2 other VFX artists, and I'm going to have both of them start. If the second guy doesn't reply, I'm going to get a third one. So you always have to have lots of options. And that's been one of the hardest hitting lessons I've had in hiring people in development. But that's the thing about it, right? I wouldn't know that if I didn't have that experience. So it just goes to show how actually doing this stuff, it's going to teach you a lot. It's going to teach you things you won't learn in videos. Like I had never heard Roblox devs are generally unreliable. I'd never heard that in videos. And second, that people will constantly flake on you and delay and even scam you out of your Robux and never give you your commission. That happens a lot more than you realize. I was never told these things in videos. I had to learn it myself. And now, of course, you're learning it in videos because I've had that experience and I want to share it. But that's what I would say for that. Smarty, do you think learning Lua scripting at this time of our lives with AI is a good idea? Yeah, it is. Because, again, AI still needs you. AI doesn't know what it's doing fully yet, and you're always going to be better at programming if you also know how to code yourself. Coding yourself allows you to fix bugs, and it allows you to know how to tell the AI what to do better. It's like instructing my employees. I know how to tell a modeler, a builder, a scripter what to do better because I've done each of those roles. So I know how to explain things to them. Same thing with AI. If you know how to script, you'll be able to explain the scripts you want. You'll be able to explain the fixes, the bugs, and what's going on. You'll be able to know what to do, how to use the AI properly to get a better output if you're a scripter yourself. Even if you're vibe coding your game 100%, even if you aren't writing a single line of code yourself, knowing scripting will help. It will be better. So no, I don't think that AI has completely replaced scripters. I don't think it will for a while. Now, I know AI is improving a lot. Everybody knows that at this point. Everybody's using AI. Everybody has ChatGPT on their phone. But it still isn't AGI yet. It's not super intelligence. It's not something that can make an entire Roblox game for you in the snap of your fingers. And as long as it's like that, it's always going to help you to know scripting. And say it does get to that point, I'm sure there will still be advantages to knowing how to code. I guarantee you there will be. And even if that's just mental, I'm sure there will be more than that. But coding makes you think better. Like that's what people don't realize is it's really a masterclass in logic. It's a masterclass in critical thinking. It's a masterclass in problem solving. You have to run into countless roadblocks and find a way to bust through them and break them down. And you cannot get that level of problem solving from very many things in life because scripting is just constant problems. There's so many bugs that you will run into. And there's so many different things you have to figure out how to do. Like I was saying earlier, you have to figure out how to make new systems that haven't been made before, especially if you're making a really unique project. So knowing how to script, that is going to very quickly accelerate your problem solving skills, and that'll make you think better in every other area. So even if AI gets really good, right, if you want to preserve your mind in the AI takeover where we're having things automated by us, I mean, programming is a new world skill. It's a 21st century skill that will still hold value even if AI can do all of it. So we got a super chat. And by the way, if you want the highest chance of having your question answered, just send me money. So anybody who sends a super chat, I guarantee I will answer your question as a top priority. But Christopher RBLX, you've just given yourself first in line access. So thank you for that. IDR 50,000. I don't know exactly how much money that is because it's a different currency, but appreciate that. That is, how do I keep a game alive? I've had multiple games at 5K CCU. Very good work, sir. And they die often within less than 2 months. I make incremental sims. So yeah, longevity is different than getting players off the bat. Now, I will say this. I haven't had 5K CCU myself. So out of your peak, you have had more players than me. But in longevity, I definitely have experience in that area. And one of those areas, one of those aspects was Jimmy Games. So Jimmy Games, we had lots of different games that we made, and all of them held like 20, 30, 40, 50 players for years, and we barely did any updates. And you can have games that last a long time, that hold a player base. Now, even if it wasn't the biggest player base in the world the entire time, like our highest peak was 700 players on Poop Land out of all games, and that was our peak, but we kept those players in for a long time. So what did that? So you said they die. Do they die completely? Do they lose all players? You have to have long-term progression. So one thing that made these games last, even if they were not the perfect games, even if they didn't last forever, they lasted for years with a good amount of players inside of them and still earning money. And that was because we added in weapon upgrades. We added in weapons that you could buy when you had a certain amount of kills. We had leaderboards, and these are mechanics that keep people coming back. So you want to focus on your tertiary loop is what it's called. So that's why games have rebirth systems. It's so that there's something to work towards in the long run. But add other things as well. You can add items that people are trying to work towards and things that people are trying to do long term. So that sounds like your problem. And inside of the analytics, you have the day 1, day 7, day 30 analytics. So what I'd be focusing on is the latter half of that, the latter analytics of day 7 and day 30, because those are where we see whether people are coming back after either a week or after a month. And that tells you if people are returning over time. Rather than just seeing if people are staying for 7 minutes inside of a single session, you're seeing, are people coming back multiple times to my game? And you can see that inside your analytics, of course. And I don't know how much you've optimized those, but focus on that for maintaining players. But beyond that, for 5K CCU, I have to ask how you got there. So you'd have to tell me, like, what did you do to get to 5K CCU? Did you use sponsors? Did you get in the algorithm? I'm sure you got in the algorithm at that point for a short period. But I'm going to have to ask, how did you reach 5K CCU? What did you do to do that? And if it's mostly from sponsors, well, you can't really use that as a metric to say, okay, my game is retaining players in the long run. But the last thing I'll say is I keep talking about analytics service. This is something I see as being one of the most useful tools for devs in iterating, updating their games based on data and doing that data-driven improvement. And that's something that I'm going to be testing out soon for myself for the first time. I don't know if you have that in your game, but I would put that in, because if you have the analytics service running, you get different markers in your funnel and you can see when players are dropping off. So even over time, I can see that being useful. Like, say somebody reaches a very high level, or they reach a certain amount of rebirths, or they get a certain item in your simulator, whatever indicates that long-term progression, right? You can track that and you can see, when are players quitting? Are players quitting after a while? Like, do they run out of content to pursue? Are there not enough pets for them to get? Are there not enough new worlds for them to unlock? What is it, right? Are there not enough new maps? And these are just random things that I'm naming off the top of my head in terms of progression, but that's what I would focus on, is that long-term trajectory. Are people coming back for a long-term goal? And I think if you want to look at an example of that is interesting, that wasn't done before, you can look at Grow a Garden. They would have your garden grow overnight. And what that does is it makes what's called an open loop in somebody's mind. So that means they're thinking about something in the background, and they want to close that loop by coming back to harvest their garden, to see what happened overnight, to see how their plants grew. And what you want to do is you want a player to have an open loop over months. You're saying your games are dying after 2 months. You want those players to be thinking about your game during their day. You want it to be in the background. So always have something that they're waiting for. Like, that's why games have daily rewards. They have daily rewards so that you're thinking, oh, I got to check in on the game to get my daily rewards. I can't lose my streak, my 7-day streak on Clash of Clans. Like, they do that. So do the exact same thing. And if you do or even a daily spinner, you do that keeps people coming back. That gives them that open loop. But of course, Grow a Garden, they showed you can do that in more creative ways, like growing your garden overnight. And of course, that's just overnight, but I'm sure you can find ways to do that in the long run more. Oh, and by the way, thanks, Smarty. I'll be posting my progress over on Twitter. Didn't think it was used like that over here in Brazil. Guys use it to get views and attention only. Yeah, inside of the Roblox space, you'd be surprised. As soon as you get on X, you will realize it truly is the place that devs are talking. It's more than the dev forum. Nobody even uses that at this point, except for noobs. Like, serious devs, very large devs, don't use the dev forum. Most people who are super active, they use Twitter, and then also private Discord servers. So as I said earlier, there's Discord servers out there that are owned by developers that they gatekeep for people who are of certain requirements. They have 1,000 CCU, they're verified, they're known, they're connected, they know Jandel, whoever. There's Discord servers like mine, Dev Create, the elite Discord server, as an example. Gate-kept Discord servers, that's the point. There's those. So those are going to be where very, I guess, prestigious devs, as many people would consider them, chat. And those are going to be your two main places, your two main hubs for very serious devs who are seeing this as a business. It's X, and then it is gate-kept Discord servers. Christopher RBLX has sent another super chat. IDR 100,000. Thank you very much. I have never spent more than 50 ad credits in a game, so it's all home recs. Either way, I appreciate the insight, Smarty. I guess it's always good to make open-ended games like GAG. Yeah, well, it's not even about an open-ended game. This is something that applies to all games. So are you keeping an open loop in their mind? As in, is the game in their thoughts during the day? But since we're talking about keeping players in for a long time, the angle I'm focusing on with you is, how do we get players to think about your game for months? And the way you do that is by having things they're working towards that take a long time and that they're highly motivated to achieve. So it needs both of those things, right? Say there's a super powerful sword inside your fighting game. You have an anime fighting game where you use swords, anime sword fighting simulator, whatever. There's a sword that you only get after level 50 and after 10 rebirths. That sword takes months to get, but everybody knows it's the best sword in the game. Maybe it's showcased in the lobby, maybe it's inside of shop, maybe it's spinning, maybe it's glowing there as well. There's effects to show it. And that is something they're working towards, and that you want them to be obsessed over it. They're thinking about it. They're always trying to level up towards that. So again, they need high motivation, and it needs to take a long time. And if you have things like that, you can get people thinking about it. You can get them in that open loop that lasts over a long period, where it's not just like grow a garden and people are thinking about it overnight, like, oh, I got to check my garden. They're thinking about it over the long term. And I think that's probably the bottleneck for you. If you're asking me, like as an analyst, the bottleneck, the part of your system, of your game that's limiting you is keeping people coming back in the long run, which typically comes from long-term goals in the tertiary loop, which is it's the objectives they're going towards over that longer time scale, like 3 months. Thanks, bro. Going to be active over there. I need some work. Haha. Yeah. Glad to help. Gonna have to create a new account though. Mine's on Portuguese niche. Yeah, just go ahead and make a new account. And by the way, it doesn't even have to have a Roblox profile picture. Like, this space has changed. You can put your face on it if you want. Just make sure you indicate that it is a Roblox account and it's not something else. It's very clearly a Roblox dev account. Say your experience, say your skills, and you'll be good to go. And as long as you're liking those tweets and interacting with them, it's going to show you that space, and it's going to get you into the Roblox dev Twitter. Because I've been on there for so long, because I like those tweets, because I even just open them and read them. I have a lot of Roblox dev tweets on my timeline, and I will get distracted, admittedly. Like, if you're going to ask me, Smarty, what is one of your vices, I guess? It's scrolling X. I don't scroll Instagram Reels or TikTok. I don't waste my time on that, but I scroll X. And I guess that's kind of a habit that's easier to kind of rationalize. Like, oh yeah, it's okay to scroll X and scroll the news because it's information. It's still a waste of time. But yeah, so don't get distracted. So my feed will get polluted with politics or whatever else that I'm into at the time. Ignore that stuff. If you just want a Roblox dev account, of course, focus on that other stuff on another account. And that'll help you to have just a pure Roblox dev feed. You can like those tweets, engage with those people, start building up that connection, start getting commissions. You can just use the Roblox game documents to make a good game, right? They help, but they're not enough, because the Roblox game documentation kind of lacks the systemic view of Roblox development that we share here on this channel. So there's other things that it lacks. It lacks the spirit of a developer telling you things one-on-one. Like, even a friend who you talk to about Roblox development, they're going to have more passion and emotion towards the topic, which is just going to make you engage on a better level than just a sterile document on the Roblox articles is going to have. So I think there is value in just having connections and also watching dev content like what you're watching right now. It isn't enough on its own to use the documentation, if you ask me. Of course, you can bring your own passion to it, but the documentation on its own I've never found to be enough. But again, the systemic view is the main thing it's missing. So it misses the business side of Roblox development, telling you how to scale up a studio, telling you how to reinvest your profits. Like, it'll tell you how to analyze your analytics, but it won't tell you how to take the funds you earn from that game and start paying other devs. So that's where the documentation doesn't have enough information. So doom scrolling X, it's a new type of drug between devs. Yep, 100%. In fact, I just saw my friend One Cole. He's the dev behind, I think, My Singing Brain Rots. He's one of the main ones. He tweeted he had to quit X because he was scrolling it too much, and he had that cope of, oh yeah, I'm learning from this, but really you're not. So he had to stop that. And so even it happens to front page devs like him. He's one of the top devs on the platform, and he even started that trend. And he was experiencing that. So yeah, it happens to a lot of devs, the whole X drug thing. Josh Co, I went to Super Chat. Hey, you're not going to get any discouragement from me on that one. I take all super chats with open arms. How do you make shops menus? Yeah, you use scripting. You use scripting and you use UI design. You can look up a tutorial on that. What's the most effective way to promote my game? Sponsors. So for most devs, it's sponsors, because most devs are not going to put in the effort to do social media. So making TikToks, that can be good because it's free. What are we measuring the best by, right? What do you consider the metric? Is it the cost? If you want to promote your game for free, go to TikTok. But that takes more effort. Is it the ease? I'm going to lean towards the ease being more important, because I don't think most devs will put in the work to do that. So sponsors are better. And also, I think that sponsors, they just kind of have a more direct route to development. They have a more direct route on the website. Like, think about it. So sponsors are on Roblox. So for my shoes, that means they're closer to the algorithm, which is what we're trying to get into. If I'm pushing my game through sponsors, all those visits are coming in directly from Roblox.com. So I think that's a better way to promote than social media, usually, because everybody's already on Roblox. They can join the game directly. There's no extra steps. They don't have to click links. And also, I'm able to track the analytics on Roblox. It'll tell me the CTR. It'll tell me how well my ad's doing with actual empirical numbers, data, like we're always talking about. And that's going to just be very useful in continuing to advertise and improve the performance of those ads. What do you mean by sponsors? Oh, good question. So sponsors are actually ads on Roblox that you pay money for, and it will basically act like your game is on the front page. So it simulates your game being inside of a sort. So if you ever go on Roblox, you see featured, you see simulators. Sponsors gives you the unique backdoor way to put yourself in one of those sorts without being a front page dev, without having perfect stats, without having a game that already has 1,000 CCU. You're able to backdoor through to the sponsored sort. Your game will be there. People will be able to play it on their home page among that list, and the more likely to be on that list, the likelihood that you're on that list depends on how much money you spend. So if you spend more money on sponsors, you're going to be in that list more often. And that's really what sponsors are, is it's for simulating being a front page game by paying money. So it's the best form of ad because it's really the most natural and it's the most integrated into the Roblox experience. It's just built in, and it's been like that for years, and it's favorable among devs. So marketers who are really good at their jobs will use TikTok. Yeah, of course. Is it better to learn all of scripting at once or try to focus on one thing? Yeah, learn the basics, but then focus only on what you need to make the genre of game you want to make. And to hear me go more in depth on that, watch my video, why you don't need to learn everything about Roblox development. I break that down. And I explain how to use the 80-20 rule to decide what you need to learn and what you don't. Because you don't need to know everything about scripting. That's a big misconception. You just need to know what is needed to reach your goals and to make what you want to make. You want to make obbies, you don't need to know as much as the guy who's making first-person shooters. Just like sponsoring a post on Facebook/Google Ads. Yeah, except I would say Roblox sponsors are even more powerful than that, because it's harder to get on a sort organically on Roblox than it is to have a post show up on somebody's feed on Facebook. So the ability to sponsor your game is an underrated one. We'll just say that. Thank you. You're welcome. Let's see. Is it better to... Okay, you already answered that one. Do you have any successful games you've made yourself? Yep, I've talked about them in multiple videos. Jimmy Games, those are the most successful games I've had. The games have had millions of visits, and they were meme games. They peaked at hundreds of players at a time for many, many, many months, and gave me funds that I've used to make games ever since. What is the most effective way to promote my game? We already covered that one. Another thing, but do you really want to rely on Roblox alone to boost your game? If you make a really good game after making games solely for funds, that would be devastating if it flops, no? No, Roblox is a great way to boost your game, especially if you're in the algorithm. If you're relying on Roblox alone and your game is being pushed by their algorithm, that's really the best place to be in. Because at that point, you just get players funneled to your game automatically. Of course, it's important that you try to do updates to compete, but the Roblox algorithm is quite generous. It will continue to push your game to players who it finds to be relevant for your game. And the Roblox algorithm works great once you're actually in it. What's your opinion on the top Roblox games? They're copy, brain rot, slop, and low effort games. Look, man, I will say the same thing I always say. It's just strategy first, business minded devs who are making those projects that you call slop, but really it's just an opinion that they're slop. I don't think they are. To me, these games are just what people want. I don't really care if the game is a GTA level game, some game with hyper realistic Unreal Engine 5 graphics, or if it's something very simple like a simulator and it's got some low poly trees, it's got a few simple pets, it's got kind of this Pet Simulator X, Pet Simulator 99 look. I don't care. I care about what is successful because that shows me what works. What am I going to make money from? If I'm running a business on Roblox, I want to see what works. So whatever's at the top of the front page, it's just data to me. It's just an indicator of what people are desiring right now. Player desire doesn't lie. The algorithm isn't getting manipulated to push those games to the top. Players aren't just playing them because other players are playing them. No, players are playing those games, whether you accept or not, because they want them. They want those games. So if you don't like them, that's fine. But you're best off if you recognize why they're working and the fact that they are, and use that in your own approach to Roblox development. And ignoring that is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. And I think that those games, we should actually be grateful that they're at the top. You know why? If all we had were GTA level games, if all we had was Grand Theft Auto 5 level games with thousands of devs working on them, like at that studio at Rockstar Games, they have thousands of developers making GTA. If that's what we had to compete with, it would be much harder. So you should be grateful that it's simple games at the top. That means that solo devs even can compete and small teams can compete. That's the advantage of Roblox. So sitting here acting like this is a problem is weird to me. It's very strange because as a developer, I'm like, okay, great. That actually means I can join in on this. It's not like Steam where you have to have an open world map and realistic graphics and code multiplayer systems yourself and do all these things, do all this extra work to make a game. On Roblox, it's much, much easier. So as long as it's like that, and I think it will be like that for a long time, that is an advantage, not a disadvantage to you. And those trends indicate what will be successful. So if you model after them, that helps you to know and have a predictive framework of what will work in the market and what will succeed. And the last thing I'll say is it's different player demographics. So just like on the App Store, we have Candy Crush, we have Paper IO 2, we have all these very, very simple games at the top. On Roblox, we have our own simple games at the top. We have Steal a Brainrot, Grow a Garden. They've been there for a while. All kinds of other games, Fish. Lots of simple projects at the top. If you don't like those games, that just means that you're not in the demographic. You're not who they made those games for. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a demographic. There isn't a crowd of kids and teens who love those games, adults too, who like those simple games. Doesn't mean they're not out there. And as a business person, you're trying to serve those needs of the market and those wants. You aren't judging it. You're just seeing, okay, this is what people want. Let's cater to that. And that doesn't mean you never inject your own passion or creativity. It just means you focus on what are people needing right now? What are their problems? What are their desires? Before you focus on what I care about. So it's different player demographics. Most players, they don't want to play Elden Ring on Roblox. They don't want to play a realistic game. They want something they can enjoy on an iPad. Me getting this iPad right here, like I didn't have an iPad for a while, but I got one. I got an iPad just a little bit ago, and what it reminded me was it's not super easy to play a lot of games on a mobile device. Like I realize, like iPad, it's the best device to play Roblox on, period. It's the most enjoyable experience because, I mean, let's just be honest, iPads are cool. But the joystick, the jump button, it's very cool. It has a cool feel to it that you don't get on PC. Plus, this is the 12.9-inch one, so you can kind of see the game up close, and it's fun to touch the screen rather than see it on your monitor. It's very immersive. So for that reason, people like playing games on their iPad. They also like playing it on their phone. And what you come to understand if you play a lot of mobile is people need simple games on those devices because it's literally hard to run Arsenal on there. Like Arsenal, you might say it's simple, you might not. I mean, it's, if you ask me, it's a more complex game because the shooting mechanics are hard to make. And they do have a very skilled and large, for a Roblox team, dev team on that. So Arsenal is not very easy to play on an iPad. People would rather play Grow a Garden. So it's not that people like boring games or trash slop games. It's that they need something that has easy user access, that has an easy to use UX, user experience on any device, on a mobile phone, on an iPad. And the fact of the matter is Skyrim, it's just not going to be easy to play on iPad. That's why your favorite PC games aren't on iPad. People do not use them on there. They're not playable on there. Yeah, of course, there's technical reasons why, but people don't port them on there because people literally don't want to play them on there because it's hard. So, and also it's younger people who tend to be on those mobile devices more. So I think devs need to have more empathy, not in just the emotional sense, but just in the awareness sense. Just be aware. People want the games at the top of the front page. They're playing them because why? Most Roblox players are on mobile. And it's not like there's not a good portion. Like it's like 40%, 50% who are on PC. So it's still a good portion on PC, but the majority leans towards mobile. So that's the stats. Those are the facts and figures. So there's a reason. There's a lot of different reasons why those games are at the top. And I think if we just dismiss it as slop, we're really limiting ourselves from taking advantage of that for ourselves as devs. And I think that isn't to say there aren't low quality games, but the games that people call slop, they are usually low quality. It actually takes a lot of work to make those games. It actually takes a dev team. You'll see if you click on any one of these games, usually for these simulators especially, there's multiple people behind it. There's often a company behind it on Roblox. And I don't think a lot of you realize that the games you call slop actually have a lot of craftsmanship put into it. Like, look at those models. Models take hours to make individually. Even for something simple, for something that's low poly, it can take hours at a time. So I think there's a lot more nuance here, and that's what this channel goes into. It's going into a nuanced view on Roblox development. I disagree. There's literally one guy with AI who makes it in 24 hours for a YouTube video. That's entertainment, man. So entertainment is different than reality. And if you look at most of these games, there's devs who are they using AI in part? Are they using AI to help them? Yeah. But if you look at any of these projects, just go to the group behind it. There's multiple devs in many, many of these cases. And it's a lot of work that goes into the games that a lot of people like to dismiss as low quality. So I wouldn't rush to just say all these games are low quality, all of this is trash. There's a lot more to it. 12.9 is basically a laptop. Yeah, man. I like the iPad. The only problem with an iPad is there isn't that much use for it aside from playing Roblox. So if I'm doing any market research, I'm going to play the Roblox games on the iPad. Because when I play Roblox games, it's research. It's not just an entertainment. It's not just enjoyment. So that's something that I realized, though. This iPad just reminded me of all the principles we talk about on this channel. There's a lot more to it than just, oh, it's slop. No. If that's what you think, that's a very hobbyist-minded view. It's very surface level. It's not actually thinking about this like a strategic, business-minded operator. So if we look at the top games, right, you can just look at all of that. The first thing you see, there's a lot of colorful icons. And usually the games with the colorful icons are what people call slop. But there's a reason why those games are at the top. Yes, they're appealing to mobile audiences. Those bright colors, they catch your eye more, and they're more appealing to younger users. Skateboard Simulator. What is this? So a lot of people would call this game low quality, right? I've never played this before. This has thousands of CCU. But you see all the models in here? Like, even if this game is simple, there's a lot of models that go into it. There's a lot of programming that goes into it. The UI is pretty good. So even a game like this, it takes a lot of work to make. And it often takes multiple people. So, oh, your daughter plays that game. Well, what a coincidence. All right. Roblox is so boring for nowadays. You can only play it for research. Well, maybe for us Gen Zers, we're like studying the Gen Alpha people. Oh, what are the Gen Alpha's behavioral patterns behind their Roblox using? That's how strategy first sounds in their dark, dark rooms. What are the behavioral patterns of Roblox players? Why? There's your clip. How many ads do I have to purchase and how long should I advertise the game for it to be noticed by Roblox? Levela. $5. Thanks for the super chat. Super chat, hey, just saying. You send me money, I will be more likely to answer your question. So, you don't have to send me a super chat if you don't want to. How many ads do I have to purchase and how long should I advertise the game for it to be noticed by Roblox? So, ads, it depends. It all depends. With a lot of these questions, it depends. It depends on the game. But usually what you want to do is not a specific amount. It's more so to segment your ads out into multiple stages. So stage 1, you're testing your game, you're testing your ads, you're spending as little money as possible. And this is what I did recently on my game. So I didn't get a ton of players from ads, but I was data gathering and I was testing How does the icon perform? How often do people click on it? Before I blow a ton of Robux on advertising and waste my money. Because I don't know if the icon does well, if I haven't ever sponsored it before, or it hasn't been in the algorithm before. So I have to make a test run. That's the stage 1. Because I've seen all kinds of dev forum posts where a dev is complaining, I spent 17,000 Robux on ads. I wasted all my money and now my game's dead. What do? I don't have any money left. So don't be like that guy. That has happened to a lot of devs out there. They blow all their money on their first ad spend. So it's not really about a specific amount. It's more so about spending as little as possible in stage 1, but then in stage 2, right, you start scaling up. Okay, now we're doing 5K Robux a day instead of 1K Robux a day. And yes, it's the equivalent in ad credits, whatever that happens to be. Stage 2, right, now you're doing more of a first real run of ads. And that's where you can start to see those player counts rise because you're spending more money. Maybe you've changed your icon from the data gathering phase. Maybe you've improved the core loop. Maybe you've improved the onboarding so users stay in a bit longer for that first session, so it's more worth it. Maybe you've improved the monetization so there's more of an ROI. You make more ARPDAU, whatever it is, more average revenue per daily user. So you've optimized it, then you do that second push. So you'll spend more Robux per day. And after that, now you enter stage 3. As long as that stage does well. If that stage doesn't do well, you might have to go back into a testing phase if the game doesn't actually grow. But if you enter stage 3 into the scaling phase when you are starting to make a significant amount of money from your games, at that point you can spend however much money on ads as you want because you're making so much Robux. Like if you have 10,000 CCU, it's nothing. It's pennies to you. So that's really the process. It's a process, not a specific amount. There's not some magical amount, 10,000 Robux spent, that will suddenly give you all the players you want. It's not about that. It's about doing it in stages. It's about not blowing all your money all at once. I will always say that anytime I'm giving people advice on sponsors or ads. Like lab rats, yes. Our lab rats playing our Roblox game. We must track their behavior. We must see how they respond to stimuli in the game's environment. See, this is how we talk around here now when we're studying our players and their data. And we turn off all our lights and we just look at our analytics. How can I optimize my core loop to add more dopamine to the player experience? I swear, somebody just got a ton of clips from that. You know, that's the best thing. One of the best things about live streaming. Clips. If people clip you, you know you have a good stream. Especially if they post it. If there's people who will make channels of their favorite YouTubers or streamers, and they'll just clip them. They'll just have an entire channel where it's just 5-minute clips. And I give you guys permission to do that. So if you want to pull like a 5-minute clip out of this and start your own Smarty Clips channel, because I'll be doing so many of these podcasts, there will be so much content. Go ahead. You can do that. And then if you join Scripting Secrets, my course on Roblox scripting and game development, you could even get an affiliate link and then boom, you can promote that and you can make a portion of the sale. It's like 30%. And there would be another Roblox earning method right there. So not only could you do a clips channel, if you want to pull clips from this, feel free. You could add on top of that the affiliate link. So just a way to make money right there. Is making a Flappy Bird game as a person who's new to studio in less than a week good? I haven't done it, but I can see it being simple. But I would start with something even simpler than that because it's just going to be a mechanic that you have to figure out. I can just imagine there will be some work in figuring out kind of the flying mechanic that you have in a Flappy Bird style game. So I would consider making an obby or something even simpler than that first, and then level up to that, just step by step. But keep that in mind, because that would be an interesting idea. Will you make a video of helping your subscriber out to fix his dream game? The person is me. No guarantees, but I'll keep it in mind. Do I need multiple thumbnails for a successful Roblox game, or can I go all in with one? That's something I don't know personally. I will say when I don't know something, I don't know that. I would assume that having multiple could help, but I don't think it's the most important thing in the world to have multiple thumbnails. Simply because I don't think people are sitting there studying your thumbnails for 5 minutes. But the more, the merrier. I mean, you don't have to go overboard, but having more than one could show them more of a gateway into the gameplay experience, kind of a window into what they'll experience in the game. And you can really entice them more with that. So I would assume that it would be better to have multiple. What's your split? Man, maybe I should just do a whole video on that, honestly. My workout routine. I mean, it's not really a split per se. It's my routine. That's what I call it. So it's everything. I would have to list it all out. It would take a few minutes. So maybe next time, or maybe in a future video. How much you bench, bro? I think I benched like 235, something like that. 235, at least 225. I mean, I can rep 225, so it's got to be at least 235. In terms of USD, how much have you made on average a day in your games? And I know it depends, but what about your games specifically? Well, in Jimmy games, during the time that the games were active, we made $20 to $50 a day in their actual peak days. And on Christmas days, it would be like holidays, you make more. It would be more like $100. Actually, it would be more than $100. It would be more like, because it's multiple hundreds of thousands of Robux that we would make in those years that they were really popping off. And it would be easily a few $100s in singular days, if I remember right. What did you use to make thumbnails for your games? Did you quickly edit something up, or did you pay someone? Recently, I tested AI. So in the Steal a Bus game that I just dropped, I used AI. That game hasn't really taken off just yet, so it's still in data gathering mode, as I said. So I'm going to do an update, see what happens, but hey, cut your losses. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's kind of the benefit of being a strategy first dev. If a game doesn't succeed, it's not a hit to your ego or something. It's just like, okay, it's just another game. Let's make another one because it was simple, wasn't too hard. I get better, I get faster each time. Let's move. It's all about careers, not just individual projects. Like the hobbyist focuses on one game for years. The strategy first dev releases a game. If it flops, he moves on fast. He makes something new, and he doesn't get stuck in sunk cost fallacy on one project just because he made it, just because he's attached to it. Could you ever make the next Steal a Garden? I almost said Steal a Garden. Maybe someone needs to make that. I bet somebody has. Steal a Garden. Make the next Grow a Garden with your skills because you've been at it for a long time. Maybe, right? And a lot of people will point out how, oh, it's better to be a trendsetter. Right? In some cases, it can be better to try and set a trend. I just advise that you don't try to be a trendsetter from day one. Actually model after the trends that are happening right now until you get to a good enough skill level where you can try to become a trendsetter. So will I trend set? Will I make the next Grow a Garden or whatever it is? Maybe. That would actually absolutely be on my bucket list. I'd like to make something that is a unique project that hasn't been seen before, that creates a wave, that creates a trend. I would just have to figure out what that is, and I think that will come from a lot of strategy first development, releasing a lot of projects, trying my most wild ideas, but most importantly, optimizing my process and building not just a game, but a factory that builds games. Have workers. I have workers, people from the Philippines who work on our new project. It's a shooter, and it's a factory. I have these people working on this project, but we're ready to move these people to another game. Say the game flops. It's always possible. Well, because we have those workers, we built up that relationship with them. Now we can instantly slot them onto a new project. Or because I found the source that I use, the job hiring site I use to find those devs, I can find new people just like that. So it's about optimizing that process, making that production line that's hyper efficient, that can make games fast, that can get your ideas out there. Because really, it's about closing the gap from idea to execution to as little as possible. And there's always going to be limits on that process if you're doing it on your own. You will always be the bottleneck. So it's better if you build a system and you build that factory out. And that's really what this channel is all about. It's about teaching you strategy first development so you can learn to build a career, which makes you the money, which gives you the leverage to build a team, which gives you a studio. And that's really the end goal for the most ambitious devs. It's not that everyone has to start a studio, but if you're truly ambitious, that's your end state. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time on Smarty Talks. This has been Smarty Talks episode 20. I will catch you on the next Q&A stream, or it might be a podcast with ROBUX. So it might be an interview stream with a successful dev who has a business. Again, game templates. We're in talks right now about, actually, he's going to sponsor my channel based on his game. That's what he wants to do. And also, we're friends, so we're going to do a cool podcast together here soon. So we'll see how that goes. Again, if you want a business model example, go ahead and look him up. He's BUBBLX on X and also on YouTube. So shout out there. You can go study kind of what he does, because he's done a unique thing there, selling templates on the top trends that come out, letting people take that steal a game, my singing game, whatever it is, templates, and build on top of that. And then a lot of people have seen 10,000 CCU games or more from using his template, like thousands of CCU go to the projects that were built off of the foundation ROBUX created. So that's interesting how you can make a business like that. And I think it just shows there's a lot of ways to make money in this space. But I'll see you guys next time.